Hello, everyone. This is Michelle at Scrappy Soul Sister, and I am here with a process video for the limited edition My Creative Scrapbook July kit. And so I just had the sketch on the screen there, and I love this sketch, and I am going to follow it pretty closely. So the first thing I did was cut out a circle out of this fabulous 49 and Market Wherever paper. Now, I've used this paper before, and so I wanted to do something different. So this sketch seemed to be a great way to do that. So I sliced up my paper and I cut my circle on my Cricut and then um, added the gaps to it on the long side there in order to cut out the yellow circle for my backing. And that worked out really well. And now I'm going to adhere it. I'm just going to use some foam tape on the top and my regular uh, Scotch ATG tape on the bottom of each strip just to give it a little bit of dimension. All right, so I have all that put together and I am loving on part of that paper on the back. Um, it had the two floral clusters on the same side that I cut the circle from. So that was the other reason I was excited to use this, is because that allowed me to cut out these little florals. And then I'm going to the whole thing. I think I'm just going to use white cardstock, but I'm going to add some florals and some color through the stencil that comes with the kit. And so that is this honeycomb uh, uh, Vicky Bouton stencil. So it's very it goes with so many things. So it's a very easy stencil to use and to coordinate with. And so I am using I'm using mustard seed, rusty hinge, and fossilized amber, all in distress inks to add some yellow to the left bottom corner and the top right corner. And I am hoping not to cover those flowers too much with my embellishments, but I totally do. You can't you can barely see them when I'm done with my layout. So I need to learn to do a better job at spreading them higher and lower so they can peek through. But you know, that's the thing about adding layers and mixed media, is lots of times you have fun doing it and creating it, and then you cover it up with all the other pretty things, and that's okay. So, okay, so I am getting close to being finished with this. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the rusty hinge to give it some depth. And then I am going to place some items and see if I'm going in the right direction. And I think I am. So I'm going to add a few white splatters to the mixed media. And at some point, I also add some blue mixed media. You don't see it on camera. Um, but other than that is all I do on the mixed media side, which isn't very much for me. So I showed restraint. So I am going to add some foam tape to these floral clusters, and I leave the back on, the back of the tape, just so I can still move them around, figure out what I want to do. And then off camera, I sewed around my circle with that blue thread. And now I am going to ink up the outer edge. And I had actually, before I inked it off camera, I did cut it down because I am going to have a backing with this, and there it is. So I distressed along the white, and now I've decided to use the back of that paper that had that gorgeous butterfly down at the bottom right, and I'm going to use that as my frame. Now here's my picture. I'm going to fool around a little bit with figuring out how I want to frame it in the academia embellishment pack. It had so many cool frames, and so I have fun trying to figure out how I want to mat this. This picture is from earlier this spring in May when we were in Colorado. We were there for mostly in Denver, but we did drive over I-70 and spend some time in Grand Junction because I wanted to go to the Black Canyon of the Gunnison and to Colorado National Monument, which is where this picture was taken. And so I have my hoodie and I can't, if you can see, my husband has his up too because it is so cold. It was early May and I was not expecting there to be snow on the ground up there, but there was. And so lots of hopping in and out of the car to take pictures and try to explore a little bit, but I had not dressed for that level of cold. But that's okay. It was beautiful and sunny at least, and so got some great pictures. All right, so I have my matting going on, and this picture I can tell from the lighting was later in the evening. I add a chipboard piece to the back of my photo, and I've started to do that. I think I was watching a my creative scrapbook video. I think it was one of the design team said that they use up a lot of their old chipboard by using it for matting, and I thought that was a great idea. So I did that behind my picture. And now I'm using this Travel More title, and I just want to add a little something something to it. So I'm using liquid pearls to to dot along it. I don't show you most of that because it's boring, but you'll see it when it comes back after it's dried. So now I'm playing with some floral clusters. There's my dried title. Trying to figure out how I want those florals to lay. That piece that I just put over the photo, the life is a grand adventure, and then over on the other side, the world is a beautiful place. I just wanted to add a little bit more interest to those, so I covered them with glossy accents, and then I just sprayed them with a gold spray and let that color just kind of float in um, that glossy accent as it dried. And so I really like that effect. And yeah, trying to figure out if I can work this tag in over to the right and what I want to do to the left, and I'm doing everything I can not to cover the flowers that I cut out of that paper. But as usual, you know, more is more, and you can see them picking out when I'm done with the final. But it took me some effort to not totally bury them. So on my title, I have the travel more. I'm going to just do a few little word strips below them. The brown, this fills my soul, and then I'm cutting out the enjoy the journey, which was on one of the UPC strips on one of the pattern papers. And I don't think I show it on camera, but I do put a blue tag behind the enjoy the journey that you'll see in the final close-ups. All right, so I have my clusters the way I want them, and I'm trying to figure out the flowers. Now, I wanted to add a lighter blue. It didn't the kit didn't come with a lighter blue, and so I experimented a little bit. I didn't want to experiment with the flowers that I had, but I took some ivory Prima flowers from a previous kit and I dumped them in ink. I just filled a cup with water, put some liquid watercolor in it, and dumped these flowers in them. And so I like the way it looked. And so then I did that with a few of the ivory flowers that were in the kit as well. So feel free to be creative with your flowers. And there's a bunch of fun different things that you can do with them to make them the color that you need them to be. So, I added some adhesive to some of my flowers and I have them pressed down over there on the right to help them dry. And now I'm trying to figure out what, um, how I want the left side to look. And yeah, I really love that the colors of the two tags that I ended up using in this layout that were part of the Wherever collection, the one that says the Great South towards the bottom, and then on the upper right, the um, bracing air and in the sunshine. Those both felt very Colorado or national parks to me. So that was fun to use them there. I cut my flower in half there so it would tuck in there a little bit better. And yeah, I'm getting pretty close to being done. I'm going to go ahead and um, um, do a little bit of fussing, um, but off camera. You won't see it. I do add some gesso to the flowers so they are a little frosty looking, which seemed appropriate for how cold and frosty it was where we were. And that is about it. So thank you for joining me for this layout. Here are some close-ups and check out the limited edition My Creative Scrapbook kit. I will put the links in the comments. You will love it. Thank you very much.